So you come back into yourself, like get some presence of mind, and you look up. Your cybernetic eye implants sort of focus in to compensate for the darkness around you. You look around, you are standing next to a warehouse. There is a small man wearing leather armor and burlap clothes on top of it with a face scarf covering him, currently typing on a deck, and he has his VR goggles like down over his eyes, clearly trying to hack into this warehouse. Standing next to you, there is a tall man in similar garb holding a large assault rifle. You see the glint of the fake skin on his right arm. You also see two more people in similar garb running towards you from the maze of buildings behind you. It's a bunch of blasted out buildings that seem to be left over from one of the Corpo wars. And you turn behind you and see that behind you there is a large open square. You see the edge of a large picture mounted to a wall, like a massive 20-foot tall picture, but you can't see it to make out what it is. And you hear the sound of a air siren style klaxon going off. And the man next to you says, "Well, that'll do it. Looks like they know we're here."
First, I'm gonna nod. Non-committal. Do a quick self-diagnostic. I want to know what my condition is and what equipment I have. Also, am I dressed like everyone else around me?
So you are not. You feel a little bit off from max, but still pretty good. Mechanically, you have 28 hit points. You look down, you're wearing your cyber leather jacket. So it's a duster that's styled to look like a long leather jacket, but it's actually made of a more durable material that serves as body armor. You can see that it has several holes in it in the front. Mechanically, it is down to 8 armor, not 11. You also feel on your back, you have 2 assault rifles strapped to your back. You glance down at the small netrunner and see that there is another similarly styled assault rifle placed next to him. You also feel your pistol on your hip. You see that you have your agent in your pocket. When you glance at it, you see that there is a flashing light on it. And in your other pocket, you feel your sort of wad of cash, smaller than you remember. You have 47 euro. You do not have your SMG.
Okay, I'm gonna look to the guy with the AR next to me. Okay, what's the next step?
Says, well, I mean, now I guess we hold them off until Jimmy can get into the warehouse.
Do we have a sit rep on where they're coming from? How many? What's their disposition?
Well, we just took out those 3, and I think the PLA barracks is on the other side of that square where the siren's coming from. So, I mean, there were at least a couple dozen marching around earlier. I don't know if that's their full complement. They've been throwing people at us for, the last week, like they had hundreds, but we don't really have that sort of knowledge.
Okay. I'm gonna ask there's 2 running towards us, correct?
Yep, they have now sort of pulled up and arrived. Each of them is holding a shotgun.
All right, I'm gonna look to both of them. Okay, what's the news?
We were going to ask you that. You told us to take the long way around. It sounds like you've stirred up quite the hornet's nest.
Shrug. Did you find anything on the long way around that we need to know?
No, we were just kind of focused on getting over here. It seemed like you guys were taking the lead. After your encounter with that guard, seemed like you were sort of trying to sneak your way through.
Well, didn't quite go the whole way that we expected.
And so you look over and you see the netrunner's hands are like flickering across this deck, which is basically like a giant keyboard. And you hear him loudly hit the enter key, and you see him smile a little bit, and then he gets right back to typing quickly. The large man with the cyber arm says, "Looks like he's through whatever their first layer is. We don't know how much protection their net has here, but we're going to have to see when more guards show up." I would assume they just heard the gunfire, so they know it's kind of coming from this way, but I don't know that they know for sure where we are. We killed all three that actually came up to us. So do you want to just wait and see until other people show up, or do you want to like prepare
Oh
an
yeah.
ambush, or what's your plan?
I would like to look around the area, get a kind of a better layout, preferably from a tactical sense, and then ask if anyone has any suggestions for overwatch positions or any sort of defensive posture.
You can give me a perception check to scope the area.
8.
Awesome. So that'll be 8 plus 3 for perception plus 7 for int. So 8 plus 10 is 18, which is a pretty good roll. You look around, you see that in more detail what I described earlier, the warehouse that you're next to, you're clearly at the back side of it. And so there's an alleyway on either side of the warehouse. You can't really orient yourself like north, south, east, west wise, but you are towards one side of the warehouse. There appears to be a similar alley on that side that presumably also goes to the square, which is in front of you, that the warehouse is facing.
Mm-hmm.
Also along the back wall of the warehouse, there is a dumpster. And then behind you, you were sort of standing in this small alley or side street that the back of the warehouse is facing that's sort of parallel to the square. And on the other side of that are a bunch of blasted out buildings. So you could potentially like take cover and hide behind the walls of those buildings, ready to come out and blast someone. The risk of that is that Jimmy the Netrunner cannot move while he's doing his run.
Do we see anything that we can place in front of him as a barrier, either as armor or just to make it harder to see him?
You could try and push the dumpster in the way, and that would at least block one side.
I would like to check out the dumpster to see if I can tell if it'd be better to block him or if it's wide enough to block off one of the alleyways.
As you start walking over the dumpster, the large man is like, "What are you going to do with that? Do you need something with the bodies, or?"
The bodies are dead, so I'm thinking, is this bulletproof enough to block the net runner, or should we just use it to block off an alleyway? What do y'all think?
He says, "Well, I think all that's in there is some trash and the bodies, but the outside of it's made of steel, so it's certainly better than nothing for cover. But if all you're trying to do is plug up one of these alleyways, it's probably better for that."
All right, let's use it to cover Jimmy. Who stripped the corpses? Did everyone check them for any gear we can use?
He looks at you kind of quizzically. He says, "You and I did. That's how you got those guns on your back, remember?"
Yeah. Did the other two get a look as well, just to make certain we didn't miss anything?
No, they just got here. They were still running around while we came up. I guess we didn't like check the pockets or anything, but
yeah. All right. Okay, let's have those two move the dumpster in front of Jimmy so it's a guard, and then have them check the pockets, and you take point on any ambush or defensive posture. Where do you want to be?
I guess that depends on which side we block with the dumpster, right? It looks like there's mainly two ways for them to approach.
Mhm.
Do we put the dumpster on the far side and stay here, or do we go over there and put the dumpster on this side?
Let's keep it on this side. It's less of a move, and we're a bit more mobile. So if we have to push it back, it's easier.
All right. And you see the two figures with the shotguns go over the dumpster, open the lid, reach inside, and like rifle through the pockets of the guards inside. Give me a perception check.
3.
3. So that's a total of 13. Okay. You don't see if they find anything.
I'm going to ask them that. Find anything?
They say, "Nope, they just had the PLA badges pinned to their chest, but that was it. Looks like you already got their guns." You can give me a human perception check to see if they're lying.
3.
So that's a 16 for you. You can tell that they are not telling the whole truth.
All right, I'm gonna whisper that Soto voice to the guy next to me. They found something, but they're not saying it.
He says to you, I mean, we can sort that later, but within the family, one person's loot is everyone's loot. I wouldn't worry about it.
Right, good.
And so you guys head over to the other alley?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to roll a luck check for you. Where would you like guards to come from if they do show up? Do you want them to come down your alley?
No, I prefer them to come down the other alley.
Okay. The one that no one is at, but you've moved the dumpster to block?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a new perspective. This alleyway is clearly like at the edge of the square. So like the warehouse is at the very bottom corner of the square, so you can see across the whole other side of it. This square is massive. It's like sort of a red square or a Tiananmen Square sort of thing.
Okay.
And this portion of it that you can see looks like it used to be like a big boulevard or something. It's not all one standard floor texture. It's not like it's a giant brick square. But the part you can see is like old road. And you can see that at the edge of the square, the building that makes up the end that you're on has this massive portrait of an Asian man in a green military uniform up on the wall. And you also now can see at the other side that there's like an apartment building, and attached to the side of the apartment building is a wooden post. At the top of the post, there is a siren. From your audio implants, like you can tell that siren is what's producing the noise. And you see a large patrol of guards, too difficult to count without you giving me an actual roll to see, that are streaming out of the building, and they are heading across the square towards the warehouse. All of them are wearing green olive drab standardized uniforms and carrying Kalashnikov style assault rifles.
Can I identify them using like my knowledge of roughly who they are?
You can give me a local expert check to see if you can identify them.
16.
You are not sure who this group is.
So all four of us are in the alleyway, or is it just myself and the bruiser with the large gun?
Your choice. I had thought you were splitting 2 and 2, but
Yes.
up to you.
Okay, I'm gonna tell him that. Okay, so I can see a swarm of people coming out from the barracks. See what his first reaction is.
He says, all right, we better, well, fuck, this has gone south. I mean, we could send Rabbit and Boxcar to go get the car, pull it around, and just hope that Jimmy gets in fast enough. You know, smash and grab, or we could try and fight it out, make sure they don't get through, go in. I mean, we're going to need the car to get the parts out.
How dangerous is the trek to the car? Do we need to send both of them, or do you think one of them can get there safely?
He thinks for a second. Probably one could do it, especially if the whole hornet's nest is over here.
Yeah. All right. Can I sneak over to tell them that?
Yeah, you can make it over and let them know. The two of them look virtually identical, but one of them has a tattoo that's showing on their arm of 2 parallel lines that run around their bicep, and then a bunch of crossed hash marks running perpendicular to those lines. The other has a tattoo on their arm of a stylized, almost Playboy logo style bunny.
All right, so looks like most of the garrison's coming this way. We're gonna need the car, but we can't hold it with just 2 of you. One of you needs to go get the car. One of you wants to stay.
I'm gonna roll will saves for each of them. And so the one with the rabbit tattoo says, "Yeah, I can go run and get it. I think I'm probably faster than you, anyways." And it says, "Like hell you are, but yeah, go run." And the one with the rabbit tattoo takes off.
All right, good.
I'm also going to roll a check to see how Jimmy is doing. You glance over at him and you see his face is furrowed.
So Jimmy's still working. It's not bad, but it's we're gonna need time. All right. My character is gonna actually do the posture that I'm doing right now, showing that I'm thinking, just to see
Okay.
if boxcar. Well, is it boxcar or is it rabbit? Who went?
Rabbit went.
Okay, just to see. Okay, does boxcar have any bright ideas?
Well, you don't know their name in character.
Does the shotgun toting person across from me, have any bright ideas?
They say, well,
Is it like,
fuck. We
okay,
could try and do you have any way to lay a trap or something? Any sort of explosives on you, or I don't know. You could check with Clyde. Maybe he has some.
yeah, okay. I'm also not the best shooter, but I'm fairly good at doing suppressing fire. Which, if it comes down to it, I'll try and keep them easy for you, so you can get in close and work your magic with the shotgun.
They nod towards you, and I'm gonna give another hacking check. As you sort of make your way back into place and are getting ready for the upcoming battle, you hear a crunch and a whirring of chains, and the garage door slowly winds itself open automatically. You see the Netrunner smiles, lifts their goggles up onto their forehead, and slowly stands up, slings the deck onto their back. It seems like a little bit out of it, and then immediately holds his ears, doubles forward, and he's like, God, what the fuck did you guys do?
All right, well, I'm going to say, well, the garrison's on their way, so get the fuck down.
He immediately scrambles over towards you guys and hides behind a still upright portion of the building that you guys are in. He says, all right, I've done my part. Door's open. You guys need to go in there and get the parts. Do you have the car coming?
Yeah, car's on the way. I don't know what's his name, but I'm going to say, hey, Clyde, and then see if the big guy reacts.
Yeah, he says, yeah.
You got any way to make it a distraction?
I have exactly one grenade. Is now the time for it?
No, not yet. How close are the guards getting? Or
They're now halfway across the square. They seem to have been spreading out. They were headed in your direction, but weren't super focused. They were funneling out because they didn't know where exactly the gunshots were coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But one of them, you see them snap their head directly towards the source of the noise of the garage opening, and lowers their gun, points with an arm, and you see the rest of them are focusing back, funneling in directly towards the warehouse. So it seems like the whole group knows that someone's at the warehouse.
What sort of numbers? Can I tell you?
Give me a perception check.
13.
At this point, you can tell that there are at least a dozen.
All right, I'm gonna look to Clyde. So how good are you with that grenade?
He says, well, I've gotten out of plenty of scrapes in my time. I think this grenade will be great. I'm worried about anyone who survives this grenade.
How difficult would it be for us to sneak into the garage without being seen?
You could do it for sure, because the warehouse is sort of blocking line of sight from the square to the garage door. So if you want to just make it inside right now, you can do that.
Okay, yeah. I want to go inside.
Okay, just you, and leave the rest outside?
No, I think I want to bring all three in and say, okay, let's see what.
Okay, yeah, all three.
And say, let's see what we can do with these parts.
All right, so you make your way inside the warehouse, and inside you see that it is actually more of a giant garage. You see several just cars. You see the broken down parts of an out of date Aerodyne that has been stripped for parts. You see close to the back the rig of a semi with its hood open, and then you also see close to the front give me a basic tech roll, or no, give me an education roll.
Education roll.
Yeah.
11.
You see what is clearly a old tank sitting there at the front of the garage, like a military tank.
I'm going to mention
It's like
to you
an old classic, like sloped armor tracked vehicle, and it's painted in olive drab and has a large red star on the side of the turret, which it has a gold outline.
Oh, an antique.
You do not know how antique it is, though.
Just being quippy. All right. I want to look at my assistant.
Sure. You pull it out of your pocket, turn it on. It has that one flashing light, and it has a thing in front of you. You have one message.
Okay. Do I have anything else that looks like an inventory? Or I'm looking for a list of what the equipment is, or the parts.
As you step inside and you're like trying to figure this out, the other three with you have immediately moved towards the semi-truck.
Okay. I'm going to try and figure out what the message is, but I'm going to follow them as well.
Okay. You open the message and see that it is a message from yourself. And it is a wall of text way too long for you to read in the moment.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to say shit and put that away because in the moment it's kind of an issue. And then I'm going to kind of just say, hey, can we use this tank?
One of them looks up and Jimmy says, well, if we can get it running, sure. And I will see who out of any of them can fix this tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jimmy is the only one who can try. So he runs off to start going to try and fix it. I will roll a check for him to see how well he does.
And then after that, then can I roll just like a general perception check to look around the garage?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll that while I roll this.
Okay. 18.
Awesome. You don't see much more than what I described earlier. The warehouse clearly has like a larger front door. It's almost like airplane hangar style. So it has two large doors that would like swing out, but they are currently closed.
Okay.
And otherwise there is...
Where are the doors in relation to the door that just opened and the direction that the guards are coming from, the ones that haven't swung out yet?
So the guards they were crossing the square, and the square is the same way that like the airplane hangar doors are. Those open out onto the square.
Okay, not useful.
You actually hear a loud rumble, and you see a like crack of light. It appears light to you. It's still like dark at night outside, but with your cyber optics, you're attuned to like changes in light. You see a crack emerge in the center of those two doors. And you hear a loud rumble, and you see that they're starting to swing open very slowly.
Where are the bay doors? Where the fuck was that car parked?
The large man, Clyde, he says, well, we parked it like a street back north of the square. So I would think, minute to run there, 20 seconds to drive it around, and then we gotta find a way to haul these parts through that building we were hiding in to get loaded in the back of the car. You do hear like a distant screeching of tires with your perception check too.
Okay.
So it sounds like someone is driving fast somewhere.
Someone's driving fast somewhere, but there's also something outside that door. Okay, I'm gonna say that. Okay, like I think I hear his car, but that's not that there. Fan out, take cover. Is there a clear door control panel that just is obvious?
Inside? Yes. You do spot a panel that's like on the far side of the garage, so next to the opening doors on the wall.
Okay, Clyde, cover me, and I'm gonna try and sprint to it.
Yeah, I think you're able to like dodge through this lineup of vehicles. As you reach this front panel, you hear a rumble from next to you, and a belch of smoke crosses your vision. And you look over and see that the smoke is emerging from the exhaust pipes of this tank.
Okay, so
And Jimmy shouts from inside, like, you can only kind of hear it over the din, but thanks to your implant, you can hear him shout, like, I got it.
All right. So the door is opening, the tank is on, and the parts are at least related to the tractor trailer.
Yep.
I think I just want to wait a few seconds and try and figure out what the hell's coming through that opening door, with the idea that if it's bad, I'll try and close the door, and then if I have to, I'll shoot with covering fire or suppression fire.
Sure. As you're waiting, you see the turret of the tank swivel towards the door, and like point down to like cover the emerging opening.
Is there any cover?
Are you gonna wait until you see the first like thing come through the door, or are you gonna wait until like you can see something?
Clyde, do you have me covered?
I got you from this side.
All right. Shotgun, you have me covered?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna wait to try and figure out what's coming through the door then, I guess.
Okay. You see a military-style boot and the shins in olive drab camo of one of these guards like step through, and then you hear the roar of a machine gun from the turret of the tank.
I'm gonna try and hit the door panel if I'm not being shot at right now.
Okay, you hit the door panel and nothing happens. It's like been overridden from outside because your hacker is driving a tank. But you see this burst of machine gun fire fly out, and this guard falls forward dead into the chamber, but it seems like the guards are trying to come through this front door, although perhaps the tank will make them rethink this.
I'm gonna try and lean up against the wall so I'm as unexposed as possible, and then get my gun ready and hope that Clyde and Shotgun and Decker are able to take care of it. And yell, I can't close the door. Oh, and then also, where are the parts?
You hear a loud curse from the back, and then you hear a shout back, "We got to get Jimmy to unhook them from this rig." He says, "I mean, I don't think we want to fight them all. Just hold them off until we can snatch and grab, right?"
Yeah, definitely. Ask Jimmy to lay down a burst of covering fire, and I'm gonna try and sprint towards the tank so that Jimmy can get out.
Give me an evasion check.
15.
You sprint towards this guy and I'm gonna roll.
The tank, right?
Yeah, towards the tank. And a hail of assault rifle fire is like pattering around your feet. And one dings off like the edge of your duster that's flapping behind you. But you manage to not get hit and climb up. You sort of duck down like you're on the engine deck of the tank behind the turret.
Right.
For you, Holm's reference, this is a T-34.
I was kind of hoping it was that. Can I peek out and see how many people there are?
Give me a perception check.
12.
You look out and you see that the crowd is still out there. It is large, but it is smaller than it was before.
Okay.
There's one body on the ground at the front of the garage. Otherwise, the group outside is sort of spaced out, but it doesn't seem like anyone has been killed.
Okay. I would like to... Jimmy, is there another way out besides the turret?
He looks around and says, I think there's a driver's hatch, but that's probably worse.
All right, well, then don't do that. Does that thing move? Can you get to a spot where you can get out safely? Because we need you to get those parts.
Yeah, I could like drive it into this wall to the right, I guess, and we just hope the warehouse doesn't come down on us.
That's not great.
I could try and drive it forward, like wedge it behind the door. Then we couldn't use the gun, but...
Does the main gun work? Do you think you can fire a shell at them and get them all to lay down for a sec while you get out?
I'm going to roll a luck check for him.
I know.
He says, I got 3 shells in here, unmarked. I don't know what sort of type they are, but maybe. I also don't think I can load and shoot this by myself.
Right. All right. Stay there for a sec. Just man the machine gun and don't get shot.
I'm in a tank. I'm much more worried about you getting shot.
Hey, Clyde, shotgun. You got any ideas?
You hear from the one with the shotgun. I mean, we could just lay down a burst to try and suppress them all, and you trade spots. Seems like we want someone in the tank, right?
Yeah, no, we definitely do. Hey, Jimmy, how fast are you?
I'm quick enough.
All right, let's do it then. Hey, Clyde, can you give me some suppression? I'll be there with you too.
All right, so I'm going to roll suppression checks for Clyde, who's the only one who has an assault rifle to mechanically do suppression. Okay, so these random guards need to beat a 23 on a will check to not be suppressed. Yeah, they all sort of duck down and scatter out of the way. They're all sort of like fanning out around the door, like hitting the deck sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. All right, now, Jamie, go.
All right, the two of you deftly slide past each other and trade spots. You slide down into the turret of this tank, which you have never been inside this sort of thing before and do not know how to use.
Right. I'm just, my only plan is that I know he used the machine gun in that direction, and I pretty much am going to try and do the same thing.
Okay, so you're not even going to try and like move the turret to aim. You're just going to like basically pull the trigger.
So because he had the machine gun pointed in a direction where he could at least spray fire towards that open door?
Correct. So mechanically, this is a coax and not pintle mounted.
Oh, okay.
Which is why he had to slave the turret around.
Right. I mean, as long as the turret's pointed in the right direction, that's all I'm worried about, because I'm trying to...
You can give me a basic tech check.
Sure.
Which is a skill you don't have, to try and figure out how to use this thing, if you would like.
Sure. Okay, so that is 11.
No, you are not sure. I will give you two options. Either you can figure out how to move this turret in one axis, so either horizontally or vertically, but when you do it, it's going to make your attempts to shoot on target very hard, or I will let you just like blast suppressing fire in the one spot, and you won't have to make checks to do it. You'll just be blasting that one spot.
I think I would rather take the suppressing fire and then just trying to buy time for Jimmy to work his magic.
Okay, so you're basically just like holding the trigger in this spot.
I'm not gonna hold the trigger because I assume I don't have infinite ammo, but I just want to like do some bursts. And if I ever see like a concentration of people, I'm gonna try and spray a little bit of fire in their direction and hope I can, hit them.
Sure. So you are getting them to sort of duck down, but they do, like, eventually they're starting to realize that you're not moving this thing.
What are Clyde and Shotgun
avoiding that area? So Clyde is still like periodically shooting bursts out. You are inside the turret, so you can give me a perception check at a -4 to like see out through your gunner's port.
Cool.
Or you can peek your head out if you want.
Maybe not right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Still got a 16.
Wow.
Oh, right, because I rolled a 10 on the D10, so that's I get to do that and I get to roll it again, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so 16 plus
crit success.
22.
All right. You get your eye like real pressed up into this gunner's port and actually get a decent field of view. You see that like 2 or 3 of the guards, I guess 3 of the guards are laying on the ground. They seem to have been hit in this crossfire. And you also hear a shout from the back from Jimmy saying that like he's made it to the semi and is starting to take the parts out. And I'm going to roll basic tech for him. Not too bad.
What are Clyde and Shotgun doing at this point? So you said Clyde's still doing like a bit of suppressing fire.
Yeah, so
I don't
Clyde
know. Is his personality one where he's going to stick with suppressing fire, or if he sees somebody down and injured, is he going to switch and just try and kill them?
You're not sure. You can roll human perception at a -4 as you try and see this from within the turret.
All right, I'm not going to worry about that. What the hell is Shotgun doing right now?
You hear the thud of like a heavy pistol.
Okay, so he's using his backup.
Presumably. So I'm going to roll one more basic tech check for Jimmy as you are in here working on stuff. And Jesus, he has rolled 7, 8, and 9 on his tech checks. And he gets a +10 to all of them.
Jimmy is a friggin' magician.
This is not even the tech he's good at. He's better at cyber tech. So you hear a shout from the back saying like, "Got it, everybody pull out." And you also hear in the distance like a screech of tires. It sounds like the shotgun person you sent to the car has pulled up. But again, you need to so you've got the parts. You need to now carry those parts the one block out to the car.
Right. Oh, wait, so we have to carry them a block to the car. The car can't actually get close up.
Correct, because remember you were in like an alley, and you probably
Okay.
can't fit the car down that alley.
Right. I'm going to stay and maintain suppression.
Okay.
Hey, Shotgun, is that our ride?
Yeah, sounds like it.
All right. You and Jimmy, get the parts.
You hear just like some noise of running in the background, and then, yeah, we're holding them. You hear from Jimmy.
Okay. I want to do a longer suppression burst and then see if I can ask Clyde to do another suppression check, if possible.
Sure. Let's have Clyde do his.
And then I am going to just hold down the trigger now.
Awesome. Just like go it until it goes empty or jams.
Or like just like longer bursts. I want to scare them so that if I see most of them out, I can like jump out pretty easily.
Sure. So he rolled a 23.
Always
He's
a
very
number.
good at guns.
Good
So
old Clyde.
he puts down a burst. You do not see movement like outside. It seems like people are keeping their head down between your burst and his.
So I'm looking to get out. Can I do like a quick check and see if there's any way I can sabotage the tank?
That'll be a basic tech check.
Okay. It's like if there's a button I can fuck up or something.
Yeah.
11. So no.
I mean, you can't think of anything like mechanical you could do to it. You
Mhm.
could always try and drive it into a wall.
Yeah. Let's drive it into a damn wall.
Okay. Reminder to you, the player, you are inside this tank.
Maybe not. I'm gonna stick with this with a suppression fire, and then if it looks clear, I'm gonna try and get out.
Okay. You dart out. I'm not going to make you make a check for this because everyone is fully suppressed and down.
Good old
You
Clyde.
you run back to the back of the warehouse where you see that both Jimmy and the person with the shotgun have their weapons stowed and their arms are full of engine parts.
Okay. I'm gonna walk over to Clyde and say, keep him suppressed, follow us out.
Okay. And are you leading the way out?
I'm gonna set points. Can I do a quick perception check to see if there's anything behind us that's explosive? If we're leading to
Like below the building?
blow the building or even just like, set off like a fuel tank and scare the guards.
Sure. Give me a perception check.
Natural 10.
All right. Roll again.
29.
Okay. So you glance around and you see that there is a CHOOH2 pump up against the wall, which is the alcoholic fuel source. It's called CHEW. So there's a CHEW tank, which is basically like the gasoline of the future. And you see next to it like another similarly shaped tank. You don't know what's in it, but it is presumably similarly flammable.
Cool. I'm gonna lead, take everyone out, kind of glance around, hope to make sure there's not like 10 guards right there. And then I would like to turn around and tell Clyde, Clyde!
Is that a motion to like grenade?
No, it's a motion to, I'm telling him to come
like
with us,
to come out.
But I don't want to yell, hey, Clyde, fall back, so in case the guards are like,
Sure.
listening.
So I'm going to do two things. First, as you head out of the garage, give me a perception check.
17.
You peek your head out and then immediately have to pull it back as a bullet whizzes past your head.
Okay.
You see that two guards on each side have like stationed up in positions down the alley. They're like laying on their stomachs and we're clearly aiming, waiting for you guys to come out the back. It now dawns on you that there were some missing people in that crowd earlier you hadn't accounted for.
Okay, so there's like 8 or 10 at the one door, and there's at least 4 that I can see.
That seems logical. I'm also
Okay,
going to roll human perception for Clyde just to see if he understands your movements, but he does.
Okay. I'm going to turn around and tell them 2 and 2.
He nods. The other two, so Jimmy and the shotgun person, set down the parts and pull out their guns.
Okay. Y'all got any bright ideas?
Clyde says, I mean, we're the same number and we got to go fast. I think we just each pop out. Each of us has one to take down, grab the parts and go. Or I guess you have that assault rifle. Like the two of us could each pick a side to suppress. These other two sprint up and then we follow. Or it could be time for the grenade.
I'm gonna ask Shotgun to put down the parts. Like, if he can give them all to Jimmy, great. But if not, I think we need his gun.
Yeah,
Or,
Jimmy cannot hold them all.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna ask real fast. Do you have a radio to the other guy?
They nod back no.
Okay. Well, Clyde, you take one side, and then Shotgun and I will go the other side. Jimmy, follow us a few seconds later.
But we won't have all the parts. We need all of them.
Yeah. Get through. We'll hopefully take them out, and then we'll get the parts, and we'll be behind you.
He nods, and Clyde asks, so you want me to suppress or shoot to kill?
Suppress. Jimmy, you go through, and then get the driver, bring him back in case we need the extra hands.
They all nod, and you get ready to go. So you guys all sort of stack up and then pop around the corner. And I'm going to roll perception checks for these guards that are stacked up to see how well they expect this.
And so it's us three coming out, and then Jimmy's following a few seconds later, right?
Yes. So you guys each pop around your corner. Clyde fires off a suppressing shot, crits again. The two guards on his side roll back out of the way and slide into cover. They don't even get shots off. You guys round your corner. Immediately as you round your corner, one of the guards fires a shot at you, but it goes wide. Now I'm going to let you and also Shotgun fire a shot. So go ahead and roll.
11.
Are you firing with the assault rifle?
Yeah.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 2.
Yeah, your shots go wide. Even at full auto, they still would go wide. And the shotgun, they got a 20, so they definitely hit. Jesus Christ. They rolled 3 6s and 2 5s.
God.
18, 28. They completely blast this guard. The guard is just red paste on the ground. So your shots go wide. One of the guards behind you is dead. On the other side, the two guards are in cover but still alive. Jimmy sprints through out to the car. You also hear that at the door behind you, the pack of guards in front has started to realize that you guys have pulled back. So they're starting to tentatively inch forward.
Okay, so the two of us who rolled out to the one side, Shotgun, what direction is he going towards the other guard directly, or is he still flanking out?
I believe you went. Did you go first or did they go first?
I went first.
Okay, so they are probably in cover still on the garage side, and you've probably peeled to the other side of the alley.
And now, so we're going down to an alleyway, so it's there's a wall on each side?
Yes, there are walls on either side.
Okay, so I want to carry through onto the edge of the wall, so I'm at least one side guarded, and then take a second shot at...
There's only one guard on your side. Do you want to shoot that guard?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a roll, just D10 plus reflex.
D10 plus reflex.
All right. So you are not going first this round. Also, roll a luck check for me as the stress of combat is all around you.
So I'm just rolling a D10?
Roll a D10, add your luck points to it, and let me know what you get.
11.
11. Okay. You pass. Next time you need to get an 11. No strikes. Okay, so this guard is going to take a shot at you. They get, actually, let me roll. A shot at you. I'm rolling luck checks for you and Shotgun to see who's less lucky to be the one he shoots at, by the way. They get 6 plus 9 is 15. And they have an assault rifle firing full auto. So, but you are in cover, and being in cover gives you a bonus to chance to hit. I feel like cover should give you basically a +4 to the difficulty to hit you.
Okay.
Since being in smoke is a plus, or makes it 4 harder to hit, cover feels like a 4 also, right? That would be fair?
Yeah. 4 or something because it's I ran past and I'm basically hiding behind a wall and trying to lean out a bit.
Yeah. So they were firing full auto at you, and they got a 11 after this, which means that they go wide and miss.
Okay.
So then next up is Shotgun, who is going to turn and fire They hit 15 damage. They blast into this guy on the ground, knocking him back, but he is still alive.
Okay.
And then you go last, so you're up.
And then, so if someone's been hit, do they have any, like, it's easier to hit them kind of thing because they're in one position?
They do not, but they have been wounded enough that their skills will be reduced on all checks.
Okay. So it's marksmanship, correct?
Yep.
15.
Okay. Are you doing full auto or just one shot?
I'm doing full auto. So I'm
Awesome.
not great with guns.
Also, be sure to let me know if you ever crit fail, just for anything purposes. Okay, you can roll damage. Your assault rifle deals 5d6 damage.
5d6.
Big guns means big damage.
Yes. Okay, so I got 18.
You blast this guy in the chest, and he just like falls back dead. Your side is now clear. You hear another like suppressing fire burst from Clyde's side, and he yells at you, "Gotta reload soon."
Okay. I'm guessing Jimmy's and other shotgun are not back yet because Jimmy's still running down the block.
Yes, you are not aware of their status yet.
Okay. So if I'm up against the one wall that's vulnerable to the other side, I want to go to the other side and then start firing at the other side.
So you want to fire at the ones who are being suppressed or the ones coming up through the garage?
The ones being suppressed.
Okay. Just FYI, the ones on that side are slightly farther away, so you will be one range bracket out, which actually is good for you for your assault rifle.
How big is the garage? Again, like roughly. Just like, are the folks coming through, are they 10 meters away? Are they 50 meters away?
I think when they started at the front of the garage, they were probably about 40 meters away. You're not sure how far they've made it, because the garage is big enough to store like 6 vehicles, one of them being a tank and one of them being a big rig.
Okay. Clyde, grab the stuff, and then shotgun, other side.
Okay. You turn, you look, you see him pull his gun up, and he's like ducking back into the garage while reloading. You see him sling it on his back and head over towards the parts, and he's going to grab them as you go to fight these people on the other side. So I'm going to roll. Can you roll initiative? So again, that's plus reflex.
Natural 10. So 16, and am I re-rolling?
You also re-roll.
Okay. 24.
Awesome. So you are first. There are these two guards. They're like 15 meters away, and they are behind cover now.
Okay.
So if you want to do full auto at them, you need to get a 14 to hit.
Okay. Not a great roll.
Is it a nat 1?
No, but it's a 2.
Okay.
So 11.
No, your shots go wide, and they impact the wall that they're like standing behind. If they were not behind cover, you would have hit.
But they have cover, and I don't have suppressing fire skill, right?
You could have suppressing fired instead. I can use that roll to be your suppressing fire roll if you would like.
I would prefer to do that instead, because at this point, I'm not worried about damage so much as letting shotgun get in close.
Okay, then your suppressing fire roll would be 15. So they're going to make will saves against that 15, and they both are staying ducked down behind cover. Shotgun is going to step forward and attempt to blast someone. They will hit. You hear like a scream of pain from where one of them got like hit in the shoulder as they were ducking down to avoid your suppressive fire. And then we'll turn to the next round of combat. During this round of combat, Clyde is going to run past you with the parts.
Can I, am I allowed to yell something and that doesn't take an action?
For sure.
I want to yell in the direction of the hangar or the garage. Is this shit worth dying for?
Give me a persuasion check.
17.
You hear a shout back that says, "You steal from you have to pay the price. It is certainly worth dying for the cause of the People's Liberation Army." But go ahead and roll initiative for this last round.
So I rolled the 2 again, which was great.
So you have an 8. So
not great.
So first is shotgun, who's going to fire another, rack their slide and fire another blast. Their blast takes a chunk out of the concrete of the wall, but does not hit. If you get a +4 dodge bonus, they get a +4 dodge bonus.
Sure.
Next up is one of the guards, the one who's been hit, sort of staggers up and tries to fire at you. You're still in cover, right?
Yes. I am hugging that wall.
Okay. A spray of fire blasts into the wall in front of you, but misses. You are up.
16.
Is this
Oh,
another suppressing or you're shooting?
okay, so did the wounded guard, did he move out of cover to shoot, or is he still in
No,
cover?
he's like ducking out from behind the wall to shoot and then like ducking back.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot to kill.
Burst or full blast?
Burst.
Okay. You rolled a what?
16.
Yeah, you hit with all 3 rounds. Go ahead and roll.
That's 3d6s, correct?
It is going to be a total of 15d6.
15d6?
Correct. Each bullet is 5d6.
So is it safe okay.
Yeah,
One.
your minimum damage kills. So
He's dead. Yeah. Also, because of course, for this where I didn't need it, I rolled 3 6s in a row to start. So
nice.
I assume he's also sort of a red haze.
Yes. Still not as good as the shotgun blast that was 3 6s and 3 5s, but
I don't think anything will ever top that, and I'm okay.
But yeah, you riddle this guy with bullets and he falls back, and then the last guard is still up, is gonna stand and try and shoot. They shoot at you because shotgun is slightly luckier than you. They have an 8 in luck.
Sure.
They are gonna fire another burst, but this one again hits the wall in front of you and goes wide. As you're having this little firefight, Clyde runs past you, hunched over, carrying the parts, and it seems like everything's now clear. You've got the parts. You can pull back.
Yep. I'm going to yell shotgun and sort of like motion towards me. Again, telling him, hopefully communicating, let's get out of here without saying it so the guard doesn't hear that.
I'm going to roll a perception check for this guard, but shotgun nods at you and starts peeling back. They like cross the alley past you and run in the direction of the car.
Do I still have line of sight on that random fuel tank?
Yes.
Am I allowed to take, okay, so like I'm at the corner of the alley, sort of like here. Can I take several steps back so that cuts off line of sight from the guard and then still have line of sight on the fuel tank?
No.
So, okay, so to hit the fuel tank, I would have to still be possibly in danger from him.
So one way that you could do it is you could try and do an athletics check to basically crawl through the like ruined building next to you. So rather than like actually be in an alley and shoot, you could try and like go through these ruins, have line of sight while in the ruins, and also still in cover, but it's going to be an athletics check to do it fast.
An athletics check to do it fast, okay, because my character at least is starting to get concerned about the other guards.
Yeah, give me another luck check while the stress of combat mounts.
Yeah, like I'm not going to risk that right now. I got a 15.
Cool, that's a pass. You need 12 next time.
Okay, and how far away are the fuel tanks? I assume I'm the closest person to them at this point?
You would be, yeah. They're about like 20 meters away.
I'm gonna take a shot at them.
Okay, give me a ranged attack.
14.
Are you firing full auto?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna roll luck, and that was good for you. You fire a burst into this tank, and it just goes up like a rocket. There's a huge fireball that fills the warehouse, and like spurts out, you feel the blast of heat come over you, and just like the shouts of the guards that were filtering through the warehouse were just incinerated. The roof of it collapses a little bit.
I'm gonna take off sprinting on whenever my next action phase is.
Awesome. Yeah, no, this is enough of a distraction that you can make it out without a check.
Okay.
So you sprint out and you arrive at the cross street where you see there's a car. It looks like a 70s Pontiac Firebird that someone has taken they've chopped it in half, taken a second Pontiac Firebird and cut out the like passenger seats and welded that section to create a second row of seats in this Firebird and then welded it back together.
So it's a stretch Firebird. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if and then everyone's there?
Yep, all 4 of them are sitting in the car.
Okay, I'm gonna fucking run to them and get in.
Awesome. You slide in, the car peels out, and immediately like drives forward to the nearest possibility to do a U-turn, does like a drifting smoke everywhere U-turn, and peels back the other way. And you are driving away from the scene. Is there anything you want to do before you arrive at your destination?
Yes. First, quick check. Everybody make it out okay?
Yep, looks like everyone is uninjured.
How's the gear? How's the stolen equipment or parts? Is it intact and is it all here?
Yep, the group lets you know that it's been stored in the trunk, but you got everything. You're good to go.
Are we being tailed? Anybody see or come across anything?
Give me a perception check. I'll roll for everyone else.
19.
You do not see anyone following you. It seems like and everyone else confirms they don't see anyone. It seems like the explosion that you set off is enough of a distraction.
All right. Well, I guess now I want to read that message on my assistant.
Okay, there's not going to be enough time to read it before you get back.
Okay, can I? Oh, so it, like, is that because it's a really short drive, or is it because it's actually super fucking long?
Both.
Okay. Is it possible to skim it and have a general gist of what's being said?
You skim it. So the reason it's so long is that the last message that you get is real short, but you realize that it's a chain of text messages from yourself describing basically what's happened to you over the last few days.
Okay. Probably would have been good to know, but firefights get in the way.
Yeah.
Is there anything immediately relevant right now?
You skim, just looking at the most recent stuff, and see that this was a job with a group called The Family that you were working with in exchange for a couple favors that they, hopefully will now pay out on, and that you were supposed to steal some parts for something called Sanctuary from a group called the People's Liberation Army.
Okay.
But with that, eventually your car pulls up into like a freeway on-ramp and pulls onto an old cracked highway and gradually pulls up towards a gathering of vehicles in the center of the highway. You pull past some old, basically pickup trucks that have weapons mounted in the back of them that are painted that same olive drab and have the red stars on the side, just riddled with bullet holes. And then you pull up to what is basically like a wagon circle, but of cars. It's all surrounding a semi-truck with a cow catcher on the front end, but it's pulling a school bus that has had the engine block taken off of it and is being used as a trailer. To the top of it are mounted two large automatic turrets. And then it's surrounded by a ring of cars and motorcycles. And Clyde says, "All right, we're home. Good job out there."
You too, Clyde. You too. Nice land, buddy.
He laughs a little bit and nods. He's like, "All right, Chumba."
Do I know what chumba is?
Chumba is Neo-African street slang for friend or buddy.
Okay.
Alternatively, chumbada is the longer version of it.
I just wanted to know what was the rough context.
Yes. So your car pulls out and joins up with the rest of this wagon circle. It's like similarly kit-bashed cars. And the four people that you're with grab the parts and start pulling them back toward the semi. And Jimmy mentions, "Yeah, thanks for your help out there. You can probably talk to Ma and get that favor called in."
Yeah, that's a good call. Remind me, how does Ma like to be approached again?
She's pretty, we're all family around here, so she's pretty approachable. Just, if she's doing something, maybe let her finish it first.
All right. And I still have the assault rifles with me, I
You
assume?
do.
Okay.
Although it's not weird to be heavily armed in this camp.
Right. Where is Mom?
He says, she's probably over by her bike, I would think, but not sure.
Which one's her bike? You're going to have to remind me.
He points you over towards a kit-bashed motorcycle that's sort of like Akira style. It's like that reclining motorcycle. And there's a woman standing next to it dressed in sort of the same way. She has her head scarf covering pulled down. They all have a very sort of Bedouin look to them, but she has short, trimmed, sleek gray hair and a long earring on one side.
Okay. I'm going to walk in her direction, but I'd like to just do kind of a general perception check of the surrounding area, just see if anything else jumps out to me.
Yeah, go for it.
13?
Yeah, now that you're inside the ring, you see that close to the bus, there are several large panel vans that have their sides and backs spread up almost like gull wing doors. And inside, two of them have plant beds. They're mobile farms. And one of them has a small herd of pigs that has it's folded out to be a little livestock pen. You see a small group of children playing around, chasing after a ball. You see that the whole place is sort of surrounded by like lots of pennants and flags of just like colorful, like maroon and purple and stuff. It's like kind of a combination between like a traveling camp. There's like a little bit of like a Romani thing to it. You would recognize that this is a nomad group.
Okay. I also want to pull out my assistant and particularly scroll through the last little chunk of messages just to see if I can figure out. Or wait, okay, is there a search function?
There is a search function. You also do have enough time now to like sit down and read it before you go talk to someone.
Okay, I think I would like to do that. If it's going to be several hours, no, but I would at least like to know what dealings I've had with Ma from prior iterations of self.
No, it'll probably take like 10 minutes to read through, but the car ride over was like 5.
Let's take the 10 minutes and read through it.
You take a moment before going over to talk with Ma and read this message that you saw earlier, and then you jot down a quick message to yourself. It takes a few minutes. As you're looking through your history, you see one other recent text chain. It's with Jessica from a few days ago, and it talks about basically the information that you found in your own notes, just talking about like she was going to send you information. She told you about the explosion at Biotechnica, and then there's a message saying that the corpos are trying to hush it up, and like this is coming from upstairs, so she can't really talk about it anymore. Those are your only messages.
Yeah, we probably don't want to.
Or sorry, you do have your agent is still flashing with one unread message.
What is it?
It's the message you just wrote to yourself.
I'm going to not select that then.
Okay.
So it's remaining flashing.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna wander over to Ma.
She looks up at you and says, "Hey, thanks for your help. You really came through there. Sanctuary can get moving again thanks to you."
There were a couple of tight squeezes, but things worked out. Some of your folks are pretty good with their guns.
You have to be, especially, well, normally outside of Night City is a dangerous place, but you get stuck in a place like this in PLA territory, you got to keep on your guard. You saw the technicals over there.
How much has the PLA been growing lately?
I'm not sure. We've only been, Sanctuary broke down last week as we were coming through, so we don't know much about what's happened, but they clearly, own this space and have been sort of recruiting the people that live here into their little micro state they're trying to build. And I know they've been coming up against the Shockers. Neither of them seem to like each other, but we've just sort of been caught in the middle of it.
That's maybe a good prospect. There's no lost love between me and either of those groups. I don't suppose you all are good at camouflage or fake facing, are you?
I mean, we have some people who are decent at it. What are you trying to do?
We don't like either of those groups. They don't like each other. Might be nice if something happened that got one of them angry at the other enough to do some things that would take some heat off of what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do.
Sure. Well, if you would rather have that, have us do that for our smash and grab part of our deal, we can do that instead. The plan before was basically just drive the convoy straight through Shocker territory and dare them to attack us.
That's probably a better one. I was thinking more if you wanted a bit more long-term turmoil that might, hopefully in the future, next time you're coming through this highway area, there's a bit less of a defined power block you have to deal with, and just a bit more opportunity for small groups like you to slip through. But
give me a persuasion check.
Judgment. 17.
She says, "Look, you're the one who's owed a favor, so up to you. But we're fine either way."
All right, yeah, I think that's something that might be your call down the line, but that's not going to fix my issue right now. So, just something to think about another day, maybe though.
Sure. Well, give it half an hour, and we'll have the parts in Sanctuary and be ready to move. And then we're ready to head over to your doctor's office. Are you ready to go?
I mean, I think so, but we've got about, you said half an hour or so to get ready. No reason to rush that and make certain it's not done right.
Sure. Is there anything you want to do in this next half hour?
Just ask Ma, have you happened to come across any more information with Theodore Laskin?
Give me a conversation check.
19.
She says, no, I don't think anyone's learned anything more than last time. He's still sort of a shady character who's running that, Ripper Doc facility out of the basement of his pharmacy.
Out of his fixer. Yeah. And y'all haven't had any dealings with him that would give us another in. Okay. No, I just wanted to know.
No, we sort of have stayed away from that area since he's in the middle of Shocker territory.
What was the beginning of your beef again with the Shockers?
Oh, they just don't like people being here. And you can roll a human perception check to see.
Natural 10. 10.
You get the sense that she's not like, there is probably an actual reason for this beef beyond just like them being here.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you want like the full human perception check or?
No, if you rolled a nat 10, you got at least a 25.
Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for what to do for the next little while.
We can time skip. That is totally fine.
What time is it right now again?
It's 10 o'clock. You should also think about, like, timing-wise, when you think a Ripper Doc would be in. It could very well be now.
Yeah. I mean, it's also depending on how augmented the Ripper Doc is. They may keep highly irregular hours if their stamina's through the roof or something.
Correct.
Or they may just show up alternatively only when they have a specific appointment.
Hmm.
Can I message Jess? Just see if she is available.
Sure. You want to message her or call her?
It's 10 p.m., correct?
It is 10 p.m.
So she's working. Well, so, sorry, this is not during the hours where she doesn't want to be called.
Correct.
I'll give her a call, just see if she's up.
You get a couple rings, and then in a terse voice, she says, what is it, Sarah? I'm at work right now.
I'll make it quick. Do you know anything about the Shockers?
No, I've told you 3 times at this point. I have never heard of the Shockers.
All right. Sorry, it's a tough time, and I'm.
Yeah, I know. Sorry I snapped, but it's real busy here. I told you about that thing, right?
Yeah, the downtown thing. I don't suppose there's been any.
Yeah, no, they've just got us really busy trying to claw back all the scream sheets that got sent out. So.
All right, so it's definitely not a thing. There's nothing down there then. Nothing at all, right?
Right.
All right. Well, sorry for bothering you, and thanks for keeping me up with all the news that isn't news.
Yeah, of course. And line goes dead.
I don't have a clear idea of what else to do, so maybe just time skip.
All right. So you just sort of hang out, inspect your gear, reload everything, make sure it's all good to go.
Yep, go do some tech. I actually do want to. Can I see Clyde?
Sure. Yeah. You walk up to Clyde and he says, "Hey, good job back there. What's up?"
Good job too. No, just can't help but notice I've got 2 assault rifles. How much is one of these worth?
He is gonna roll a check to see what he thinks. He takes a look and he says, "I mean, these things are ancient, but I have no idea what they're worth."
Oh, so this is a AK-47 style Kalashnikov?
Yes, to you, the player, they are AK-47 style Kalashnikovs.
Okay, I didn't actually realize it was that. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just kind of shrug. Ask Clyde. Oh, yeah. So How long
we
have you
give.
been with the family?
He says, born here, raised here, wherever here is at the time. It's a good group. Family's the family that you find, not the one you're born with, right?
Especially in this world. Who knows where you're born?
And he sort of shrugs and says, we look out for each other, and it's pretty freeing out there on the open road, especially, compared to the freaking war zone that is Night City.
What's what's the goal for the family?
For us, survive, keep driving. Independence is the most important thing. So don't get tied down and be ready to stick up for each other so we can keep going.
Y'all have never found a place you'd actually consider settling down in then?
No, not for us. There's never quite been a place as nice as, feeling the wind in your hair and moving from spot to spot.
Oh, yeah, and then just I glance around. Are the shotgun twins nearby?
Yes, you glance around. The two of them are like leaning against a car. They have their hoods down and they look like fraternal twins. The one with the rabbit is male. The one with the bands on their arm is female. But they both have like long black hair and sort of sharp features.
I asked Clyde, so what's their deal? I noticed they don't exactly talk that much.
I mean, I think you just didn't talk to them much, and they had to go the long way around. But they're both pretty cool and collected when on a mission, and I would say that's a good thing.
All right, well, my bad. I was a little distracted. It's been a rough time. You want to kind of fill me in on them, on what I should have asked them?
Oh, on them, they're just another couple of members of the family. They help run perimeter when we're out on the road. They each have their own bike, so they sort of run a vanguard. But no, good folks. A little harsh, but a life of sort of vigilance will do that to you. But they're. I guess I never heard you say their names, but they go by Rabbit and Boxcar. I'll let them decide if they want to tell you their real names.
All right. Well, thanks, Clyde. It was good working with you. Are you helping me out on the favor coming up?
Says, yeah. I mean, it sounds like we're pretty much going to drive the caravan through. Sounds like the plan is basically drive it up, park sanctuary on the street in front, and then you and Jimmy go in so he can hack through that door you need hacked.
Yep. It'll be good to know that I've got some steady eyes, but backing me up on that just in case there's any surprises down there.
For sure.
Do y'all augment much? Or Ripper Docs are not your thing?
He flexes his arm and the fake skin ripples back off it a little bit, and you see the metallic tendons underneath. And he says, well, some of us do, but that sort of thing's pricey, and you don't necessarily get a lot of euro outside of Night City. We're mostly self-sufficient, but people who are running security for the family tend to have more just because it helps out so much. But the farmer folks with the vans, they're pretty much standard meat.
Standard meat. Yeah, I know. Is that thing a full replacement? Is that a full augment?
Yep. He pats all the way up to his shoulder. Yeah, it's a whole story how I lost the first one, but I don't know if we have the time right now.
Is there any way I can run a check just to say if, to get him to talk about more about the arms or any other modifications?
For sure. You want to give me a conversation check.
Yeah. I'm totally unnecessary, but I rolled in that 10. So
all right, so you're crushing it.
My lowest possible thing is 26.
You cajole him a little bit further, and he's like, well, remember that tank you were messing around with in there?
Yeah, hard to forget.
Yeah, back in 21, we were driving by Night City, and we just happened to get caught in a corpo firefight. Some Arasaka goons had tried to jump a Militech convoy that happened to have a much more state-of-the-art tank than that inside it. We wind up in the crossfire, and this thing turns and just blasts the bike that I'm riding out from under me. I wake up, arm is mangled, can't see out of my right eye, and you look and see that his right eye is also an augmented replacement. And he says, and then I, get pulled up by another member of the family, put me on their shoulder. I ride behind them on their bike. We catch up to the rest of the convoy, just barely make our way out of there. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that staying in one place ain't for us. That's how you wind up with stuff like that happening.
Sounds rough, but you made the best of it. Full cyborg eye and full cyborg arm. Pretty impressive stuff.
Well, when you work as much security as I do, the family saw it as sort of worth investing in this sort of stuff.
So the family is real. Family is a family. It's not just a name.
No, I mean, we're not like a literal blood family, but we're a real close-knit group.
And as you said, the ties you build are better than the ties of blood.
Exactly.
Cool. Good working with you, Clyde.
Yeah, you too. I'll catch you later. And we're good to jump forward now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So as you have this downtime, go ahead and give me another luck check as you sort of like relax out and get psyched up for this next thing.
11.
All right, that's your first failure. So you have one strike.
Mm-hmm.
You feel the back of your head sort of get like a little fuzzy for a second, and then come back to. And the whole group starts to load up. The engine of Sanctuary like rumbles to life, and you see the wagon train of cars drives out and pulls into sort of like a formation surrounding this bus. The motorcycles are like riding around it as outriders, and then the cars themselves are like a pack in the middle.
Mhm.
There's a car at the very front and the very back that each have a turret mounted to them as well that has
So
someone like standing behind manning
it is very Mad Max style then, with technicals and formation.
Very much so.
Okay.
Someone motions for you to like come sit in the like shotgun seat of a car near the center of the formation, and you see Ma pulls by. She's got her like headscarf back on, covering her face. She's got goggles down on her red bike, and she sort of like circles the formation and then shouts something indistinct, and the formation starts moving. You guys travel down the highway. You pull off to the right, and you wind up snaking down more into a train as you wind up on the streets and no longer on a highway when you can be like in this big formation. And so you are making your way through Shocker territory. Go ahead and give me a perception check as you make your way.
Crit fail.
Crit fail?
Yep.
Give me another luck check then.
Crit succeed.
All right, so you pass that one. Okay. You don't see anything, which is why it's startling to you when you hear the whir of the chain guns on top of Sanctuary start firing up. The barrels start spinning, and you look up and see one of them like snap and turn to the top of a nearby building and fire off a burst. And you see a figure up there. It looks to be a woman wearing yellow painted football pads that have spikes on the shoulders. And she has a rocket launcher that she's like holding up on her shoulder that was aimed down at the convoy, that she just gets blasted by this minigun and falls back.
Okay.
You hear a shout that basically you've clearly been spotted. So as you're making your way over sort of through enemy territory, I'm going to kind of abstract this mechanically. So what sort of job do you want to be trying to do to help the convoy on the way over? Do you want to be just like taking pot shots at people that you see? Do you want to be trying to like yell out targets for other people to shoot? Do you want to try and do something else?
I'm gonna look at my character sheet real fast to see if anything jumps out.
And my best skill is empathy and talking, which isn't very useful.
Maybe you could convince them not to attack the convoy.
I could blast propaganda. I mean, I'm going to ask the driver, is there any like microphone or loudspeaker nearby?
They say, "There's a speaker in the back of Sanctuary."
Sanctuary, all right. Cool. I asked the driver, do you want me an extra pair of eyes, or do you want me locking and loading in case anybody gets close?
He says, "Well, I think we got plenty of guns in the convoy. I think probably a spotter would be of more help."
Eyes it is. All right, I'm gonna. Is it a car that has a sunroof?
It is a convertible.
Okay, so in that case, I'm gonna kind of shift to with my back to Sanctuary and just try and have as much of a 180 degree perspective as I can.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you do 3 perception checks in a row, and tell me what each of the results is.
17,
Okay.
18, and 12.
Okay. All right, so you are like gazing around and you spot other people popping out of the tops of buildings, and you shout and point, and the gunner on the back technical of the convoy trains his gun over and just blasts the wall, at the very least forcing them to stay down. And then a third person pops up, and you just spot them like a little bit too late, and they are going to fire off a rocket towards the convoy. The rocket actually goes a little wide. The blast scatters some of the cars and like knocks them to the side and jostles them, but doesn't directly hit anything. Immediately after firing the blast, the turrets on the top of Sanctuary just turn and blast this person. This like immediate stress of missing this person, though, you're going to need to take another luck check.
That could have been much worse.
Yeah.
15.
All right, that is another pass. You are up to needing to get 15s to pass, by the way.
All
That
right.
one needed 14. Okay, so eventually the convoy like winds its way through the streets and pulls up into a larger street and forms back up into this wagon circle formation. Now, on one side of the street, there is a battle-scarred end cart station. It's clearly seen better days. Part of it is kind of collapsed. You see a sign on the wall that it says Juniper, but the NIPER has been spray painted out, and it's been replaced with MPERCABLE. This is jumper cable. On the other side of the street, you see a row of like totally blasted out buildings, but from the buildings you see 3 neon signs. One of them is a silver spoon that's doing sort of an eating motion. It's an animated like moving neon sign. You see a flickering flashing green cross, and you see a purple pistol. Each of these buildings with the sign has a set of stairs headed down into like a basement area.
Mm-hmm. Before I go there, I want to run to Isma nearby, because I want to run and see if she's all right with me using the loudspeaker to attempt to trade with the shockers and say, I'll give you dirt on the PLA if you back the fuck off.
So you can run up and find her. Give me a persuasion check to convince her to do this.
Cool. 19.
She hears your proposal, just nods, and gives you the okay.
All right. I'm going to run into Sanctuary, go to the mic, and just yell out, shockers, 2 choices. You can come at us and we'll grind you to dust and you can be weak, or back off and I'll give you some dirt on a big old hole in the PLA's border and you can go in there and really strike a blow. Make this territory your own.
Okay, so as you step into the back of this bus area of Sanctuary, you see all the seats have been removed, and instead it's filled with computer equipment. And then there is this sort of like microphone terminal that you were able to go to. Sanctuary is not storage facility, it's like the home base of the family. But As you do this shout, first you hear a shout back, just like yelling, "Ceasefire! We'll come out and talk." And onto like the sort of dilapidated roof of one of the nearby buildings, 3 figures step out onto the roof. There's a like clearly battle-hardened man holding a large sniper rifle. He's still wearing the like football pads, but the spikes are much shorter, and his are primarily green, but mottled green, purple, and yellow camouflage. Next, there's a young woman who has the yellow pads and has a deck slung across her back. She is standing there like arms crossed with a frown. And then in between the two of them is a man. He's wearing a like white toga. He has a cybernetic right arm, and the upper right quadrant of his head is metal. Both of them are charred black and are like hanging limply at his side. So the arm is hanging limply. The like cyber eye seems non-functional, and he's got a little bit of like jagged scarring across his face.
All right. Greetings, Lord Zeus.
He is going to roll a thing, and he says, "Who are you that you would drive into my territory?"
I'm gonna. Is Ma nearby? Just to see if she wants to explain it herself.
She is, and she was like, "You know damn well who I am, but I'm not the one doing the talking."
All right.
Roll me a persuasion check for your earlier message.
Yeah. 23.
All right, I'm going to roll a will check for this guy. And he is not going to pass.
Can I see that he's like faltering and try and say a bit more to convince him?
Sure.
Say, you have rockets and a fierce force. We have high speed and heavy turrets. If we clash, we both lose, and the bastards in green win. Neither of us want that.
He sort of thinks for a second and nods and says, "Well, what do you want in exchange for this information?"
An escort for a short trip. We're looking for a piece of information. Once we found that, we will not only leave, but provide you a direct path to a gaping hole in the PLA's territory.
Okay, this is going to be another persuasion check. This one is easier than the last because you've been like working on him.
It is a 19.
He nods and says, "You have so much firepower. Why do you need an escort? Where are you trying to go?"
Not for safety, for decorum. We are honest and straightforward, and but these are just words. With an escort, you will know it to be true, that our word is our bond.
He repeats, "And where do you wish to go?"
We seek there is a dock here. And I'm going to kind of tilt the head, as in, clearly it's more than just a dock, but you know what I'm talking about.
He gestures with a hand down at the area with the green cross and goes, "Theodore, you wish to see Theodore?"
Indeed. We believe that you know of him well.
He pays his protection fees on time.
And then you will have no issue with us going to ask him a few questions, and then, as we said, departing without further loss to either of us.
He nods and says, "If you can find a way through his security systems, you're free to step inside."
Does not the Lord Zeus have his own raised archways to conduct his business?
He smiles. He clearly appreciates the flattery and nods and says, "For a small fee, I could let you use my personalized access codes."
What is money to the great God when instead he can have more information and weaknesses that is not just wealth but opportunity?
Give me another persuasion check.
20 on the dot.
He finally begrudgingly nods, and he nods to the woman next to him, whispers something that you can't hear. Give me a perception check to try and hear it. And you do get a +1 to this from your implants.
14.
Yeah, you cannot hear what he says. But he says, very well. You give me one small portion of the information now. I send my champion here to open the gates for you, and then you give me the rest.
The Lord Zeus is wise and generous, and we gladly accept.
Okay, so what first thing do you tell him?
That we wiped out 30 guards as part of an industrial complex where it's either wide open or their lines are spread thin. Once we come back, we'll provide you the exact location as well as certain assets within that compound that are no longer available.
He nods approvingly, and the woman in the yellow comes down and is standing by the stairs down to the Green Cross area.
Okay. Do I have a moment to write myself a message?
Yes, you can stop and write yourself a message.
Okay, I would like to do that now.
So you jot down this note to yourself, and then you head out towards the doc's office?
Yes.
Okay.
With Jimmy, and then who is the enforcer from the Shockers, or who's the person?
You do not know their name, but it's this woman with the yellow shoulder pads in the deck.
What should we call you?
As you approach her, give me an evasion check.
14.
You duck back just out of the way of her throwing a punch at you. And she said, "Fuck you, that was my friend you killed." And you hear a booming voice from up top that says, "Tife, we have made peace. Do not let your personal grudges linger." And she just looks at you incredibly sullenly and crosses her arms and says, "Fuck, okay, fine. I let you through this door and that's it."
And behind the door is the dock?
Behind the door, he has some trapdoor set up, and under there is his should be where he is.
So the great Lord Zeus goes through the trapdoor every time?
It's the only way in.
Can I do can I sense to see how much she's trying to deceive me right now?
Yeah, give me a human perception check.
17.
She is not lying. This is the way that she has been down every time.
I'm sorry about your friend. If it makes you feel any better, I didn't have a gun, or I was not on one of the turrets during the ride.
She says, "It wasn't about the ride. It was a few days ago. You could have just paid the fucking toll like everyone else."
I'm gonna look just unhappy and say I tried to de-escalate as best I could.
She says, "Yeah, you were incredibly bad at it." And otherwise, she lines up with you to head down into the basement.
Okay. All right, let's go into the basement.
All right. So you step down a set of stairs and you step into almost a room within a room. So there is a basement. The walls are lined with different pharmaceuticals, and there is almost like a vending machine style robot gurney lining the walls that can slide and pull pharmaceuticals off it. It as you come in, you see it slide over, pull one, and drop it into a pneumatic chute that shoots down out of sight. You cannot go over to this wall though, because you are inside of a box made of bulletproof glass that takes up a much smaller portion of the room. And as you step in, a hologram flickers to life of a woman wearing a 1950s nurse uniform, and she says, "Hello, how can I help you?"
Well, and I'm gonna step aside, look to this shopper I'm walking with.
She sighs, nods, and walks straight ahead of you to a portion of the glass, and she taps a very specific location, and then a digital keypad lights up on the glass. She looks to where you are and then stands between you and her hand, so she can't see like entering your PIN in an ATM. And she enters a code. It takes like 15 seconds to enter the code. And she says, "There, done." And the glass suddenly, like, it looked like it was one solid piece of glass, but a door swings open,
Okay.
and you can step through. She says, "There's a door in the floor." As she's saying this, a similar like seam opens in the floor and raises up, and automatic stairs slide down. At the surprise of all of this and the emotion building up, give me a new luck check.
That's 13.
All right. That is strike
Strike
2.
number 2.
Next time you need a 16.
I ask her, and what's the exit code?
She says, "It will always open from the inside."
Well, thank you. I try and say it as genuinely as possible.
She sort of snorts at you and walks out.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to walk towards the stairs.
All right. Yep. You make your way over the stairs. Do you go down? You look inside, and it's a well-lit but like very fluorescent lighting area. Down there is like all tile, and all you can see is the area at the base of the stairs where there is a small blue rug where the stairs would touch the ground. And you hear a voice call from in that says, "Yes, I was not expecting any visitors today."
Hey, Doc. I'm going to just walk down.
You step down the stairs and you see a room where there is a just very rugged looking metal dentist chair without the padding on it, but with like open sort of arm restraining clamps and leg restraining clamps that like could lock someone down onto the table.
Mm-hmm.
On the table, you see a figure who's like clamped in, clearly unconscious, and their chest is splayed open like butterfly style. And you see that standing over them, holding a scalpel in one hand and like some sort of cybernetic device in the other, is an elderly man. He has shock white hair and a big grin on his face. And he says, "Welcome, welcome. I did not expect to see you again." And go ahead and give me another luck check.
Critical success. So that is a pass to 17.
Yep, you're still in it. He says, "Hello, Sarah. Are you liking the implants?"
Sometimes, but I had a few professional critiques I could offer instead.
He is still smiling, but he says,
Right.
"Oh no."
Can I sense like his impression, like whether like is this an actual smile or is this sort of like the rictus of somebody who's clearly
Human
faking it?
perception.
19.
This doesn't seem to be particularly natural. It seems like his real emotions are more in his eyes.
Okay.
He says, "I am so sorry to hear that." And you look at his eyes, and he does have like he has some genuine surprise that he's seeing you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Well, you will have to wait for me to finish up with my current patient. The anesthesia does not last that long, and I do not think they will want to wake up like this."
I'll be happy to wait here, Doc. I'll just ask a couple questions to pass the time, but of course I wouldn't want you to.
It would be very distracting. I am sorry.
They'll be easy questions. I'm just in the same quality that you worked on me. I'm sure you can handle it.
He says, "Well, I am very good, as you are well aware."
Yes.
Yes, ask your questions.
Well, my real reason for being here is I would like to have a post-operation sit-down review the medical records with the physician, if you would be so inclined.
As you ask this question, he reaches in and you hear the cracking of a rib as he's like pulling at it with a hand, and you see him hold up. They break so easily, don't they? Give me another luck check, as this just like deeply unnerving person is here.
16.
16, that's not good enough. You need a 17. And with that, your brain sort of shorts out, overwhelmed by just the traumatic imagery. And that's the end of your session.